In this series of tutorials, we're going to build this tabs interaction. And the reason we're going to build this tabs interaction is because it's a good combination of using states, layers, and triggers. We'll also learn a few extra production tips. And the tabs interaction is a very common interaction, so there's a very good chance that you'd end up building something like this. So it's a great practice activity. So let's go ahead and see what we have, and then we'll start building it. So when we look at the tabs interaction, what we notice is we have 5 tabs. And you notice as I roll over the tabs, I have a hover effect, so this indicates I'm rolling over. And when I click on the tab, you'll see that there's a visited state. So I click on the tab, you see a visited state. You'll also notice that over here, a layer is being exposed. So I click on the tab, this shows a layer. So 2 things are going on, or 3 things. I hover state, I click, and that becomes a visited state. And at the same time it shows a layer. Now the other thing I'll point out is down here we notice that the next button is disabled, and when I click on that last tab, the next button is going to be enabled. So we have a conditional button here based on whether or not these have all been visited. So let's go ahead and build the tabs interaction. We'll start with building the tabs, and then we'll build the slide layers, and then we'll build the triggers. So we'll start with a blank slide. Go ahead and insert a new slide. And what we want to do is insert our background image first. So go to Insert, choose the picture. You should have this picture, City 43. Go ahead and select that. We're going to take that and we're going to nudge this into place here. We're going to close this we're going to close the timeline down. So now we get a bigger view of the slide. And this area is going to be our tabs area. Now here's a bonus tip. A lot of times when you're building e-learning courses, you're actually mocking up your slides and the way they look. And you may actually have a graphics designer do that for you. So go ahead and take a screen grab of that mock-up, bring it into your slide, and then you can use that screen grab as a guide. So we're going to do that. So go to Insert, Picture, and we actually have this image here called Tabs. So go ahead and select that. Now this will be our guide, and what we're mostly concerned about are the colors. So what we had is our graphic designer in this example. We have a background color, we have our tab color, we have a hover color, and we also have a visited state and a unique color in there as well. So let's go ahead and format the background first. So right click, choose Format Background. We're going to choose Color, and what we're going to do is a color pick. So choose the eyedropper. We're going to color pick this background color. And we hit Close, and now we have our background color. Now what we want to do is create our tab. So we'll just insert a shape. And this doesn't have to be perfect. Just draw it out on the screen. We'll format it first, and then we'll get it into position. So the first thing we want to do is turn off the shape outline. So double click on the shape. That opens up the Format toolbar. We'll go to Shape Outline. We'll choose No Outline. Now what we want to do is a color pick, and we'll choose this gray color. So go ahead and choose your colors, eyedropper, and we'll choose our gray color, and now we have our tab. And we're going to go ahead and line the tab up, and because we have drawing guides, everything's nice and neat. Now what I can do is create 4 more tabs, and the easiest way to do that is to duplicate them. So I'm going to click on my shape and hit the Control button. And you'll notice how my mouse cursor changes into a little plus sign. And I'm going to use, then I'm also going to press down on Shift. So now I can click and drag, and I've duplicated the shape. So I'm going to select these shapes here and click and drag. And now I have 4 shapes. And now I'm going to select one more. I'll click and drag. And now I have 5 shapes. Now one of the things we notice is over here, these are really nice and tight, and over here these are kind of spread apart. So we can align those. Now the Align tool, the way it works is we can distribute these vertically, and we only need to be concerned about the top and the bottom shape. So we're going to work off the top of the top and the bottom of the bottom. So I don't even need to worry about where these are at. And what I want to do is get these a little tighter. So I'm just going to nudge the bottom. I'm going to use my 25 years of experience to eyeball this. So I nudged it a little. Let me move this out of the way. Now we're going to select all of these, And we're going to come over to the Align tool, and we'll choose Distribute Vertically, and let's see what happened. And there we go. We've got a nice tight alignment. We can preview this to see what it looks like, and everything looks really nice and perfect. Now if I want to, I can move these down a little bit. So I can move these down a little bit, and then we can add our text in here. So let's go ahead and insert some text, and we'll just call this sales training. This is our sales training text. Now you'll notice that the text is black, so we can just select that. We'll go to the colors for the font. We'll choose white, and we'll just make it a little bit larger, and we'll center that. And that looks good enough for us. We can put some placeholder text in here if we want to, but we don't need to for this tutorial. Now we have our tabs. What we want to do is start to format the tabs. So the first thing is we notice that there's some text here. So we're going to go ahead and add our text. So I just click on my shape and start typing. So the first one is customer service. And I'm going to pause this and type in the rest. And we have all of these typed in. Now here's a tip that's really important when you're working in Storyline, and that is to get in the habit of titling everything. So let's go ahead and open up the timeline. So I'm just going to click on the arrow. That opens up the timeline. And I want to title these things. So the first thing I have here, this is just my title. So I'm just going to double click and I'll type in title. This here is my communications tab. So I want to call it communications. This is my market research tab. We'll just call this market. This one's self-promotion, so we'll say self. There's sales technique and customer service. And it's a good habit to title everything, because when you start to set your triggers and have interconnected elements, the titling really comes in handy. And the rest of this we don't really need to worry about. So we've got our tabs, we've got them titled. Now we need to customize the tabs. So these tabs should have a hover effect, and they should also have a visited state. So we should have a hover state and a visited state. So let's go ahead and create those. The way we create those is I select my first shape here, and I'm going to come over here to the states. Let's make this a little larger. So I'm going to come over here to the states tab, and I can see I have a normal state, and I want to create my first state, which is going to be hover. So click on Edit States, click on New State, and then we can click on the drop down, and the good thing is hover and visited are pre-built states. So all the logic and everything that has to happen programming wise, that's all built for you by Storyline, so you don't have to do any programming. So we're going to choose hover and hit add. And now we have our hover state. But we notice that our hover state and the normal state are the same color. So what we want to do is make our hover state that green color. So let's go ahead and hit done editing states. Now I have my shape still selected, so I want to click away from that. And let's click on this shape or the image, and I see my shape fills. So I'm going to come up here, choose the eyedropper, pick that green color. So now I have the green color. And what I'm going to do is fill this hover state with the green color. So I'm going to select this shape here, and I'm going to go to Edit States. Here's my hover state, and now I'm going to come up here to the shape fill and just click on that. And now I have a green hover. So I've got a hover that's green, and I have a normal state. Now what we need to do is create a visited state, and we're just going to create a new state. We're going to come over here to drop down and choose visited and hit add. So what we want to do for the visited state, and just to speed up the production, is we're going to fill this with a slightly darker color. So we're just going to come up to the colors here, and we'll just choose one of these grays here. We'll choose this darker color here. And then there was that little blue box. So what we're going to do is just fill that with the blue box. So let's make this a little larger so we can see. So we're going to insert, we'll do a shape, and we're going to take the shape and we're going to format it first. So let's fill it with this blue here, and we'll get rid of the outline, and then we're just going to get it lined up in here. So let's make it fit, and we'll make it a little smaller. So now we've got the blue box on here. Everything looks fine for us, and we have a hover state and a visited state. So let's go ahead and hit done editing states, and let's preview this. I have a hover state, and when I click, I have a visited state. Now what we need to do is apply those two states to these other four shapes. And there's an easy way to do that. I can select this shape here. I'm going to come over to the Home tab and select Format Painter and double click on it. And now I can just click on each button. So when I click on the button, you'll notice that all of the buttons now have those states. So let's preview that. So I have a customer service. So you can see they all have hover states and they all have visited states. And that's how we create state changes for the tabs. So all we need to do is select a shape, come to the States section, and just add as many states as you'd like. The next thing we'll do is we'll actually build out the slide layers, and then after that we'll build out the triggers.